Wade Asia Change Maker. My God, the session we've all been waiting for. For this session, we bring to you 5 stories on the road, less chartered, beating the odds and fulfillment. So without any further ado, we bring to you the phoenixes who rose from the ashes. Wow, kya baat hai. I'm just impressed by my own words. We will start off with architect Pratima Joshi, founder, executive director, Shelter Associates, Pune. With a big round of applause, architect Joshi, please come on up. A passion to transform the lives of the urban poor drove architect Pratima Joshi and her 2 friends to lay the foundation of Shelter Associates 3 decades back. She's the only Indian to receive Google Earth Hero Award. My God, can you have a big round of applause just for achieving that feat? Thank you so much for your presence and your time, ma'am. The next the next phoenix we would like to call on stage is architect Nikita Mehta, principal NM Corp, Delhi NCR. Nikita is the founder of NM Corp with over 13 years of experience leading large multidisciplinary teams in the design of large-scale complex projects. Our next phoenix we'd like to call on stage is architect Nandita Bhatt, airport director, Udaipur Airport. Ms. Nandita has spent the past 25 years in aviation, specializing in airport design. In her enriching experience in 1996 in airport master planning and terminal design, she's worked as an architect, Department of Planning of Airports Authority. My God, this is as heavy duty as it gets. A big round of applause for architect Bhatt. Ma'am, we request you to kindly come on stage. Moving on to our next phoenix, we'd like to call on stage architect Sangeeta Bias, the principal architect, Dharohar, Delhi. Ms. Sangeeta is an alumnus of the School of Planning and Architecture, New Delhi, and NIT Raipur, and she has a working experience of a super rich 24 years. With a big round of applause, Sangeeta ma'am, thank you so much for your time. And, a big thank you for sharing your knowledge in just 1 minute from now. Our next phoenix we'd like to call on stage is architect Ishrat Naushehri, Kashmir's first female architect. My God, what a privilege to have you with us, ma'am. Thank you so much for your time. Ms. Ishrat, a seasoned architect based in Kashmir Valley, boasts over 2 decades of experience. Her diverse portfolio encompasses residential and commercial projects, interior design, innovations, you name it, she does it. And of course, the leader with the toughest task, as always. Preeti ma'am, you happen to be the only moderator who's moderated like 2 sessions back to back. So give it up for Ms. Preeti Singh, the additional Director General, Redco. So ma'am, stage is all yours. Women, let the battle begin.
Thank you so much, Nikita, for a lovely introduction. I've been seeing the same passion the moment you started the first panel and carrying forward the same enthusiasm to the last panel. Considering the time restrictions and I've been given the time limit of 30 minutes. First of all, firstly, I would like to thank the esteemed panelists for taking out the precious time, the audience members for being here and listening to us, and a very good evening, a warm welcome and special thanks to the founder and the Wade Asia team. Instantly starting with Wade Asia panel discussion on change makers. We have this women panel of the women, those who have actually brought a lot of new inspirations through their journey. They have their own restrictions, boundaries, but they break the bias. And as the lovely introduction of the panel speakers was already given by Nikita, dear friend now, my first question straight away goes to Pratima Joshi ji for an amazing journey and making that change in the lives of people, those who live in slum areas. Pratima, why as an architect did you choose a career in the social sector? Because people, those who want to do social service, they join an NGO. There are ample NGOs or they start up an NGO, but this particular profession, architects and interior designing, especially the designing, is a very glamorous profession. It is always considered as one of the most highly paid service sector. But in this profession only you choose social sector. as it is required a lot of commitment to choose such sectors, so please help us understand why you chose the social sector in architecture and what was the inspiration behind it. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Preeti. I thought I should start by first thanking Vertica for giving me this opportunity again. It's great to be with the architect fraternity with whom I rarely get to mingle. But I would like to start with a short film which was very recently made by Infosys Foundation for the Arohan Awards, which we just won 1 month ago. And that would help set the context for the work that I'm doing. So can we have the film, please?
That they had faced. What really hit us very hard was the fact that, they would not eat or drink after 6 in the evening. So we asked them, do you want a toilet? And over 70% families said yes. So our product is really a home toilet. It is a very data-driven product. We gather 2 kinds of data. One is at the settlement level, where we map just about everything that is visible. The second kind of data that we collect is at every household level. And then this mapping information that we've created and the data that we've gathered, we integrate that on the GIS. So then that information comes alive. Immediately from that map, what is the status of defecation in a particular settlement. This data has been very, very useful when it comes to our One Home, One Toilet program. To date, we have facilitated 27,000 toilets across 7 cities of Maharashtra and mapped over 3 lakh households. I think the empowerment of women in this process has been extremely satisfying. And what really touched my heart was when a 13-year-old girl got up and said, now I can eat to my heart's content. I'm Pratima Joshi, and my dream is when we all move towards a conscious planet where every person can live with dignity and equal opportunities.
So I would like to just add a few things before I address your questions. So this particular film actually shows the sanitation context in which we've been working. But we use an extremely data-driven approach to even address social housing, which is one of the most neglected sectors across the country. We use a data-driven approach, and we have to date, provided secure tenure to about 9,000 people. But there's just so much that needs to be done. All of us know that during the pandemic, it came into sharp focus that the health and well-being of every citizen counts for a healthy city. And I would really like to appeal to a lot of young architects over here that you must try and consider a profession in the social sector because it can be so rewarding. Right now, even as I'm speaking to you, we are engaged in a project under the Prime Minister's Awas Yojana in the city of Kolhapur, where through an extremely inclusive process, an entire slum is getting redeveloped. We are working very closely with the community and working very closely with the urban local body there. And people are completely in control of their process. So a very inclusive process. Now the construction has started. People are monitoring the progress, and next year they hope to be in their new houses. So I believe that if Bharat needs to fulfill its aspiration of Swasth Bharat and Swachh Bharat, we have to ensure that no one is left behind. And so this is my real appeal to a lot of architects here. Please do engage with the poor in your cities because there's just so much that you can bring in, so much value that you can add to their life. Why did I choose a career in social sector? I think I must thank my parents first because they always said that when you come from a position of privilege, you must give back to society and you must give back to society manifold times. So in a way that always was ringing at the back of my head. But I must also give credit to a lot of great teachers who taught me, not just in the School of Architecture and Planning in Chennai, but when I went and did a course called Building Design for Developing Countries in London, I had great planners and architects who were working firsthand in the field of development and who taught me on that course. So much so that when I decided to come back and work in my country, I knew very clearly I wanted to work in the social sector. So it's been an extremely rewarding journey, and I don't regret it for a single day. You know, I've completed 30 years this June as an architect and founding director of Shelter Associates, which is an NGO, which was founded in 1993. So there have been accolades and recognition that has come our way. But I would like to specifically mention Google, since you have talked about us being a Google Earth Hero, which was in 2009, but we also won the Google Impact Challenge Award in 2013, where we made it to the top 10 NGOs in the country and were given a lot of grant to work in the space of sanitation. But our association with them has continued over the years, because today we've embarked into something which has not been done anywhere, that is digital addressing. We are giving every house in a community a digital address which is navigable on Google Maps, and they're partnering with us for that. It's a very much needed kind of an intervention, because I don't know how many of you have tried to visit the house of your house help who lives in a community. Reaching her place can be a nightmare because they don't have an address. Today, they're able to leverage it for emergency services and even something as simple as a gas cylinder which they require on a day-to-day basis. So our partnership with our donors has been also very fulfilling, just as this entire journey has been very fulfilling with just about the entire cross-section of society that you get to work with, right from the poor to the most powerful, because you're working with the government all the time in this particular sector. So thank you very much for giving me this opportunity.
Wow, that was really inspiring. Can we have a huge round of applause for the slum architect of India? You know, it is a true honor to be sharing a stage with such amazing personalities, because you thought of moving out of that rat race. Of course, we all are successful. That's why not only the people on the stage, I'm talking about even the audience members and people, those who are going to watch us later, because success has a different definition for each one of us. For one, maybe getting maximum grades is a success. For second, maybe it is having the healthy bank balance is a success. But then, ma'am, for you, providing home, किसी के घर का सपना सच्चा करना, you know, I think that is the biggest thing. As I also mentioned, this roti, kapda and makan, this is the basic necessity. And makan is not a luxury, it's a necessity. And you have decided to work on the slums and providing them a house. That's really very, very inspiring, and I'm really glad that the BBC News and the other corporate houses have recognized and definitely going to take it forward with my association, Naretco, and I will request my builders to support this great initiative. Moving ahead to architect Sangeeta Baez, the symbol of Nari Shakti. Ma'am, I must say, this interaction in the lounge was hardly 10 minutes, but what I understand, working in the heritage conservation for over more than 2 decades, I'm sure it's not that easy. Because when it comes to heritage conservation, the questions always arises, why to spend so much of money? Because it is all to do with the government bodies, and I definitely want to hear from you the challenges. But before moving ahead, I want to know that conservation architecture provides a sense of identity. It represents our past history and culture. It is so important. But ma'am, again, the same question, the glamorous world of architecture and design, and choosing conservation architecture. One, what was the inspiring reason? And two, moving ahead and continuing the journey, beside of having all those challenges which you shared with me with an open heart. Kindly share with the audience members also.
Yeah, heritage conservation is not just conserving the built form. It is, of course, an identity. Is a reflection of our past society, our traditions, our traditional knowledge, wisdom, and things which were evolved around 100 years back. It is not a reflection of a knowledge which has created those built form out of 1,000 years of knowledge. That is in the form of built form, which we call as a heritage building, and vernacular architecture, both the things. So it is not only built, it is also encasing knowledge of 1,000 years, which we are seeing in the built form. Secondly, of course, we face a lot of difficulties when we approach authorities and funders for doing conservation work, even government agencies. Sometimes it is given last preferences, till not now, but of course when we started our career and we reaching to different collectors and commissioners and let's do listing of this city and listing of this city. And that is not given a proper weightage of that, because taking out the 40,000 rupees fund for that kind of work, it was not easy. And we kept waiting for hours so that we can get a chance to meet because we got the appointment to meet the authority so that we can discuss the project. But at the end, we don't get any time because only 5 minutes are left. And we have been going there after doing months of research and database, and we are even not given a 5 minutes time to present that. So those challenges will be there. Another thing I would like to mention here, it is a challenging thing, challenging world, but right now we are talking about conservation, but it is going to be a very big field after 20 years, 30 years, because we already have built a lot. The conservation and rehabilitation is going to be a great profession in the coming year. So it will be a demand because we are building every day. What is going to happen with this built stock? So this is not only conservation, it is a mindset. And of course, it is a sustainable architecture practice because we already have consumed a lot of earth resources, natural resources, process them. So we cannot waste them every day, reusing them. So it is a very good sustainable example. So for me, it is a passion. And of course, it is something which is inside you when we work on a heritage building. It brings out so much passion in you, so much energy. Sometimes we forget we are going to pay or not. But working just happens like this. So it is challenging, but rewarding, definitely.
Ma'am, I would also like to request if you could share that experience, what you shared with me when you started your journey. Just to make your point, you really have to come forward stronger. And you used to put that big bindi to look older of your age so that people can listen to you. Could you please help us highlighting that point also? Because this is also a main challenge what a woman feels. It's never about the age. It's your idea, it's your experience and the wisdom what you are going to get.
Yes, actually I passed out in 99. I started my career as a United Nations volunteer. I was working in a village in Punjab. And parallelly, I wanted to work for my area. This place is called Jabalpur in Madhya Pradesh. I belong to a very small town, Balaghat in Madhya Pradesh. I studied from Raipur. And I was very passionate to do something for conservation of that area. Then I used to approach different collectors, commissioners, ministers. And every time I'm going with my paper, and I was a very young and thin girl at that time. And it was like, you sit and drink water, right? They don't used to give, they are not value. Some young girl is approaching them, whether it is useful or not. And after 1 year, I realized that they are not talking to me because I'm a young girl. They are not taking me seriously. Then I started putting one choti, and I started putting big bindi. And I started to dress up like I should look old. And of course, as a married woman, I should put sindoor. I started putting sindoor also. See, I'm a big woman. Now listen to me and see my proposal. So it happened that time. And I shared my thought process with several officials also. They started laughing. No, let's look at this matter now. Another thing happened when, with the time, with the experience, when you are working on different projects. So even if after 15 years of experience, you are sitting in a conference, smart city projects, you are putting up your thoughts. No, this building is valuable. It will add values to that. And in a conference hall, you are putting up, but there is no value for that. I stopped dyeing my hair. I will put my gray hair. See, I'm old lady is telling you something, listen to us. And really it has made change. Because that's how we have to put our voice very strongly. And I had to do this.
So I understand, ma'am. I completely respect that because I'm also working with one of the very respectable association caters to the real estate sector, which is under the Ministry Housing, and I know why I changed my dressing. I also started putting bindi. So
It happens, you know.
yeah, Nikita, I know. I'll come to you, but moving ahead to our next panelist, Ishrat. Ishrat ji, it is a pleasure to have you today. It's an honor, basically being the Kashmir's first female architect. We all know that Kashmir is a paradise. It is one of the most beautiful places we have in India. Being the trailblazing first female architect in Kashmir, can you reflect on the specific experiences, challenges, gender bias within this field? And that too practicing architecture where everyone, even in metropolitan, they have the perception that a woman should pursue the field of education as a profession or a doctor or any other respectable field. So this profession which is working with rodi, patthar, mitti, you know what I mean? The construction per se is a male-dominated industry and that too picking up it in a place like Kashmir. Please share your journey, how you overcame all of it and your message to the young budding designers.
Yeah, hi. Good evening to everyone. I'm thankful to Wade Asia, woman architectural platform who has invited me here. So I would like to say that it's a great opportunity for me to be here. So I have been practicing as an architectural consultant in Srinagar for last more than 2 decades. And we have been taking up projects like residential, commercial, hospitality, renovations, interiors, and turnkey jobs. I'm a principal architect for my own firm that's on name of Ishrat Nausheri Associates. That's a Srinagar-based firm. And our firm has been an award-winning firm at state, national, and international level. I started my journey at a very young age. After I passed out my bachelor's from Karnataka University, I didn't waste my time like just staying back at home or like, neither I worked with any consultants, but I wanted to do something on my own. One of my maternal uncles, he's a renowned architect in Kashmir, so I did my practical training with him, and I got an opportunity to work with a lot of prestigious projects in Kashmir. And then I had a zeal to do something on my own, and I started with some projects. I got, I made some, because of my social contacts and all. So I got familiar with some elite class families where I got an opportunity to work with some villas which were on, the land topography was totally, the projects were on the contours, which was a very challenging job for me. Designing, then executing it and monitoring everything on the site. And then, first of all, taking me in confidence as an architect, a young lady architect, as ma'am said that she used to put a big bindi. So it was like, we used to dress up like that so that people take us in confidence. And that too in Kashmir, it's very difficult as a female, because when I started my career and I used to be on the sites and like the contractors or the workers on the site, even the clients, they used to have that big smile on the face. Like the lady, what is she going to tell us? Like, does she know? Or, it was a very difficult time initially. But mashallah, like now it's like they look for the architects and they say that, yes, you get the plans from the architects and that's how we are going to work further. So it has been a wonderful journey for me to work as an architect. in Kashmir, and I may say, actually I belong to a civil engineering. My background is, most of my family, like relatives, my friends, and the family, we are from a civil engineering background. So I'm the first architect from my family, which is, I think, again, breaking of barriers. So I may say that my family has been very supportive. So it was never like, because my father, he never wanted me to do the government job. So he was always like, you're in the private sector, and architect should be in the private sector because you get to, do something on your own, which I also wanted to. So I'm, mashallah, lucky enough that parent support was there and my guides, and obviously because you need moral support as well. So I have been lucky that way, and I got an opportunity to work on a lot of projects. I worked for Kashmir Hut, which was a prestigious project, and in 2005, that was an award-winning project from the state government, that time late Mufti Muhammad Said Saab. So other than that, there are all a lot of national and international awards also our firm has got. So that's it. And the message I want to convey to the youngsters is, see, this field, architecture, is like, it's not like a profession, I may say, like being a doctor or being, see, it's a profession. If you have a passion for this, and I may say a patience, passion, you have to be dedicated, you have to be hardworking. And it's a challenging each and every day, as in practicing architect. Every day it's something new. So if you have all these qualities in you, definitely you will be a successful architect. And that's all. Thank you.
That's really inspiring, ma'am. Can we have a huge round of applause for Ishrat ji, because being the first to start. So, when you start something new, things are not that easy. And the people, those who follow the steps, you are making the path easier for them. And as Ishrat just mentioned that she has a strong message to give to the budding architects, and she is attending today with her daughter. This is really inspiring, ma'am, and I'm sure Kashmir, the growth states and the upcoming projects in Kashmir is definitely going to get a lot of knowledge, and upcoming budding architects does not have to move to metropolitans and other states for work. That's amazing. Now moving ahead to the youngest on the panel, but the most dynamic. I was actually observing your reaction during that age content when ma'am was sharing her experience on putting the bindi and looking older of her age. Now you don't have to dye your hair, Nikita. But coming to my question first to you, could you share a specific message or piece of advice you would like to convey to aspiring young architects, since at this young age you have already worked with the masters in the design sectors and best of the architects you've already worked with, and you've made your name through your action. So for you, the action speaks louder than your words. But what would be your message based on your experiences and achievements in this field?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. And Preeti, I'll come back to you in a second. But first, Vartika, thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to share my journey. And it's like definitely a big privilege to be standing amongst the most distinguished women who are here on the stage and who are sitting there in the audience as well. I'd first give a little background to where I'm coming from, and it all started like 18 years ago when I left Jaipur to pursue my architecture degree in Bombay. And I remember even in college, my designs were considered somewhat outlandish or ahead of the time. And then I had to do a lot to convince that why this is something that is the future. And towards the end of it, my thesis project was chosen for Charles Correa Award back then. I joined as a junior architect, Mr. Hafiz Contractor's office. And just because I was so driven and the constant hunger for learning more and my passion for design, I would work relentlessly on all the projects, irrespective of whether they were assigned to me or not. And this led to me becoming the youngest associate Hafiz had ever had in last 40 years. And I became a partner with Hafiz Contractor and leading the biggest project, not just in Hafiz's office, but probably the biggest project in the whole country. I became the head of project for Geo World Center, which is a 10 million square feet project that I'm sure a lot of you are now aware of, and working with almost 50 international consultants, 35 plus Indian consultants, when I was probably just 24. And now we all know that what a mega project this has become, and it has become a talk of the town, probably the talk of the country now. And before we move to further things, I just will show a quick glance of what we built in 10 years. So as you can see, these are some of the pictures of the exhibition center, convention center, the banquet hall, Neeta Mukesh Ambani Cultural Center, the Grand Theatre, the smaller theatre, the stairs. This is the largest elevator in the whole world and is in Guinness Book of World Records. And this is the mall that will be inaugurated later this year. That's about it. So these were some of the images that you saw for Geo World Center, which is probably the biggest project right now. But none of it was like easy. When I was a 24-year-old person walking into a meeting room with 50 men who were twice my age and thrice my experience, I had to struggle a lot even to be heard. There was constant efforts to undermine my position, and I had to work twice as hard as any male member or any of my male colleagues who were there. And I'm sure this is the struggle that all of us that have faced. But I'm not here as a feminist. I'm not saying that give us any special opportunities because we are women. All that I'm saying is give us equal opportunities, because after that, we all would be working equally hard to get the goals that we all have. And this was just the start of my journey, because when I looked around, I realized that all of the major firms in the country are being led by men. Think of any of your favorite architects in the country, Bombay, Delhi, Bangalore, or anywhere else, and they all are being led by men. And I wanted to change that. This is where I decided to start my own firm and establish NM Corp. And as you can see on the screen, these are some of the projects that I have been designing. And my firm is like as young as 6 months old, but we have managed to do all these projects, which are currently under proposal with different builders in Delhi and in Bombay and in other places. And without taking much of rest of the panel's time, I just want to show quick 2 projects which are currently under the construction. This project is for one of the musical mogul in the industry, and because of the confidentiality, I will not say their name. And as you can see, being from the musical industry, we picked up the evolution of the building form, used the musical notes to devise a form there, extruded the mass, continued to develop different ways of how we would start the final form. And as we all have been talking about giving back to the greens, instead of being a glass facade office tower that most of the buildings around are, we decided to break the mass and open up each of the office tower into more green spaces. And then this is what led to the final form of the building. This is what the building looks like, and it's currently under construction, but I cannot name the place or the builder for the sake of confidentiality. And this is what the building looks today. There's another office tower that we are doing. So we had limitations in terms of the form because we had to use the maximum FSI. So this is where the site started becoming a volume. And then we had a rectangular mass there, but we wanted to divide the entire floor plate in a way that the irregular shapes are more with the services, and we get the regular shapes to the office building And as you all know, Vastu is an important consideration in India. So that led to these kind of straight rectilinear blocks for all the masses. And then we wanted to still break out the spaces and create green on multiple levels, even with a very, very tight site. So we did that by creating a sunken garden with this office floor, and then created balconies and then some at the top floor. Then another important consideration came about the glazing. And as I said, the south side is what is the building facing, and we wanted to like screen the south and create more glazing, but in a way that it is all shaded. That led us to introduce a second skin, a metal facade screen that would then shade all the lower floors and the south-facing floors that led to this building. So this is the current derivation of the building, and that's the form that the building looks like today. So these are just some of the buildings that we are doing today, and with that, I kind of sum up my little longer presentation. And one last bit now to finally answer what you asked me. The message to all the people, and this is not just the architects, but it goes to all the builders, developers, industry stalwarts. I would reiterate, make in India. I'm not repeating Mr. Modi's slogan here, but it is very valid to us as architects. We are 1.3 billion people, 0.3 billion Indians here, and there is no lack of talent amongst these people. Then why are we always talking about bringing in international architects to design every major project in the city? We have been constantly under this whole fad of bringing an international consultant, and having personally worked with 15 best practices across the globe, I have realized we are as good as them. And there is no reason why we should be looking outside. So the time has come to change. Time has come for us to look inwards, and we should be becoming international architects and not the other way around. So that is my message to everybody, and it is also going to a lot of people who are the developers here and not just the architects. Wow. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much, Nikita. Very well said. I want to share one experience. Recently, Naredco's Women Wing, Naredco Mahi, has taken a study tour. We took almost 15 women out to Vietnam on a study tour. Now, Vietnam's top two real estate companies, Win Homes and Nova Group, CEO, chairman, and the top board members, 90% were women. Even their governments, the top leadership positions are led by women. Not on the basis of gender, but on the basis of their capability. So when you said, give us the equal opportunity, we don't want your sympathy, we don't want any privilege. What we want is an equal opportunity, and selection has to be completely non-biased on the basis of the experience and the capability. So that's amazing. Now, since we do not have time, and Komal was coming to me with a white slip, I understand, I respect the time constraint. Thank you so much, Vartika. Thank you so much, Komal, and the entire team of Wait Asia, and the lovely audience, and very dynamic and inspirational speakers for sharing this stage today. And thank you so much on behalf of Naredco and Naredco Mahi.
Architecture conference, of course, powered by the one, the only Merino Industries. Thank you so much, Team Merino, for making today happen. Thank you so much, Team Wait Asia, for making today happen. And thank you to all of you. You are the reason why all of us are gathered here today.